Hello, hello. You're listening to For the Girls, Gays and Days, the podcast where two friends process their emotions concerning pop culture of note to the acronymed community. From film to television, music, and more, we're here to tell you what caught our queer eyes this week. I'm Colt, he, him.
I'm Alex, they, them. Cheers.
Welcome.
Welcome.
This week, we're spilling our guts on Oliva Rodrigo, breaking the tension with Kylie Minogue, coming out swinging with bottoms, and musing on the beautiful mess that is, and just like that.
Yeah.
To kick us off, category is music. Alex?
Okay. So, queers we up. Olivia Rodrigo is back. You'll know her from Disney fame and her first record called Sour. A lot of people thought the second album, or sophomore, if you're in America, sophomore record, would be called Sweet and kind of connect to the first album, but
That would have been a way to go.
that was the rumor for a while.
Yeah.
And people always have theories about the pop girls and why things happen the way they do. Instead, we have Guts. And Guts, I think, is one of my favorite records of the year. I know that there are a lot of people. Yes, I know that there are a lot of people, namely my best friend across the way from me, who don't fuck with Miss Rodrigo. My wife is one of them. I played the record for her yesterday, and she literally said, "Could you please turn it off?" Which
I wouldn't go that. I would not go that far. I just want to put that out. I will defend myself in a little bit, but I had to say that. I won't go that far.
No, I understand. Okay, so let me describe the record for people with bad backs who should check out Moles. If perhaps you really enjoyed Blink-182, Green Day, a lot of pop punk when we were young, Simple Plan, Less Than Jake, all of those people, you'll like this record. It is definitely leaning more towards the rock punk side of pop than some of her previous efforts, even though if we think about some of her singles, it has definitely hinted towards this direction, but we're going tits out, folks. We're really pushing the bar. It's also an album that has a lot of variation in it. So you'll have some clear, catchy ones, Bad Idea, Right? People love Get Hip Back. Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl obviously has the shout out where she says, "Why does every guy I like end up being gay?" But my favorite song on the record is Lacey. It's very queer. It's very storytelling. It is everything I like in songs. Some people like Vampire for a number of reasons. She's very self-aware. She's incredibly smart, and she has a razor-sharp pen. And that's something we can't doubt. The production and the musical leanings, I think people can maybe be hit or miss about, and I get that. It's not for everybody. But for me, lyrically, it's a strong album.
I would say that, how I would describe it tonally is if Taylor Swift did pop punk. I think there's a lot of qualities to her voice that I think are very similar to Taylor. I think there's a number of times listening to this album where I was like, did this go on shuffle? Is this a new Taylor I had in my head? Yeah, I've been hit and miss with Miss Rodrigo. I am on record with you, at least, as that I did not enjoy that first album very much at all. I thought it was exceedingly self-indulgent. And to sort of hear the sort of background on it and hear her talk about her sort of writing process of that she was entirely writing about things she had not experienced at all ever, but was sort of theorizing on, made a lot of sense to me because that's how it felt to me listening to it. I did like this album more. I think there are a couple, probably a literal couple that I really enjoy. Bad Idea, Right? I think is an absolute banger. I love that fucking song. It does it for me. Everything about that song does it for me. The little ways that she goes, fuck it, it's fine. Just every time she does that, I'm just like, yeah, love it. I like the opener on the album. All American something, I forget. All American Bitch. Yeah, the opener, All American Bitch is one of the ones that I quite liked. That's why I was like, I started it and it's All American Bitch and then it's Bad Idea Right. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm on board. I'm with you so far. And then it gets to Vampire, which I'd heard before. I hate that song. I'm sorry.
It's viral. It's also got the TikTok curse where it like was on TikTok for a minute.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you why I dislike it so much, but it just does not hit me. The rest of the album I can absolutely listen to. I don't think I have any other sort of standout favorite songs that stood out to me on several listens at this point. I've listened it through and I can absolutely put it on and like go about my day and do stuff. But I just...
Is it doing? Yeah, it's good for doing stuff. It's like a energy record. Yeah.
But it is one that I think that apart from Bad Idea Right, I will probably forget entirely in a few months' time. I completely understand why people love her and love her music, and I completely understand why gay people are very, very into her. I'm just not one of them. Sorry.
I get that, and I think that's totally valid because you know what she gives, and it's what some of my favorite artists have done, and I've just mentioned them, so I won't do it again. But like, encapsulate an experience of youth. That is very relatable. And the thing is with experiences of youth, doesn't tie to everybody. Like you said, that there are moments where you felt like, oh, Bad Idea is a banger. I get that. That's clearly a single, clearly a banger, like great. Some of the deeper cuts not necessarily for you. And I think that's really great to understand about pop. And I hope people reviewing this album remember that too. Like, it's not necessarily for you. Like it's a specific nuanced experience. If you want something that's going to play in the background of every ad ever, Imagine Dragons, it's right there. But like, if you want somebody who's really took time to craft something highly specific, then this is for you. It's sort of like a Marmite record, I would say. There are people who love Marmite. And there are people who don't. And
it does feel like a progression and a growth from the previous album.
Yeah, the growth.
It doesn't sound identical to the previous album, which a lot of artists sort of struggle with that sort of thing. I don't think she's going to be one of them.
Well, I think it's great. I think the thing that Fall Out Boy captioned for me, though, really made me think of is either the sophomore slump or the comeback of the year. And I think for her, it's the comeback of the year, and it's a great record for me. And I think it's sold out. She doesn't need me to hype it, but if you do want to listen to it, grab
stream it, give it a go, make your own opinions.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, agreed. Moving on to something that I feel is probably a little more universally liked. Again, might be biased just because I think I'm obsessed with this song and with her in general, but I'm talking about Kylie Minogue's Tension. Which is the second single off of the Aussie Icon's upcoming 16th studio album, which drops September 22nd.
Work.
In my opinion, so far in this era, 2 for 2. The bangers that you know the gays are obsessed with. And I think this song in particular is campy. It's sexy in its own way and like a not entirely self-serious way. And I just think it's so lovely to see Kylie have like the best time of her life. Like you see her in all the press junkets, all the like radio shows she's on. She's just having a blast. And she just loves to see people listen to her music and really get into it and like have a great time. There's so many clips of her at like radio stations where like the radio people are just absolutely just having a banger, like having a party in the recording booth. And it's just, and people just so loudly support her. I think it's particularly good because I do not think she got the flowers she deserved for her last album, Disco. I think people slept on that fucking album. I think
we loved it.
It was an album that got me through the pandemic. It's an album that got you through the pandemic. I Say Something still remains a song that I can put on at any point and it's going to just cheer me up. I don't know if I love the song as much as this one. Or even necessarily as much as Padam Padam. Obviously, that has an icon status in and of itself.
I mean,
I just think this song is just really fun. And this stupid music video. The music video is so stupid. It is very much giving like Drag Race music video challenge.
That is
with like over the top looks, choreography, green screen out the wazoo. I'm really into it. What do you think about it?
It made me so happy. It made my dimples went straight into my teeth. I love them. I also feel like gay people were involved, and there's something you can't quite quantify about that experience. Like if you look at her TikTok right now, you also get that feeling.
Yeah.
She's just such a great ally. Speak Valentina. She really has that thing that gets people through tough moments. And the songs stick with people, and people will go to bat for her no matter what stage she is in her career. The one thing that I think we both feel is that it's really her time, especially in America. I think this has given her thank God TikTok, because it used to be this thing where people would make Eurobangers and nobody would get it, but Gen Z seems to love Eurobangers, number one. Number two, they'll put them on the background to anything on TikTok. And
this is my favorite thing. I love to see the song used, put under clips of like shows, movies, films, memes in general of just dancing. And they did the same thing with Padam Padam, I think, in the beginning. Exactly. I love that.
I love it for her. I know I don't know her, but she kind of feels like that aunt that I do know. And I love her. If I saw her out, I'd just thank her, because she's really, I don't know, maybe it's because we grew up going to gay clubs and then our backs got sore and we stopped. But she really did give us some epic moments on the dance floor. And I'm so happy the rest of the world is now seeing it.
Yeah. And I very much looking forward to the album in a couple of weeks. I'm hoping that these are not like the only two good songs on the album. The rest is a flop. But like that would be like the biggest heartbreak of the year for me. But I don't think
it's
that's going to be
you
the
put
case.
Them on a playlist. Called twerking.
I think she's got us. I think she we're in good hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope so.
Potentially speaking of, shall we move on to the next category?
Yes.
Which is film. And Alex has been able to see this film. I have not, because it has possibly the worst release I've ever heard of. But yeah, go ahead, Alex. Tell me about Bottoms.
Okay, here we go with Bottoms. Let me give you the official thing before I just go into full fanboy mode. Okay, directed by Emma Slegman. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Unpopular best friends PJ and Josie start a high school fight club. It is as funny as it sounds, to meet girls and lose their virginity. They're both really gay. They soon find themselves in over their heads when the most popular students, the ones that they want to sleep with, start beating each other up in the name of self-defense. Okay, so I've set the scene. That is the official synopsis, and I'm so sorry if I butchered that director's name, but she put her whole pussy into it. Okay. If you want the most ridiculous, queer sort of slapstick comedy, you've got it. If you want witty commentary on life, you've got it. If you want a horror movie to pop up when you don't expect it, you've got it. It is the B-grade horror movie in the best way. But it has all these different elements that work really well together. Sort of like if you wanted a little bit of everything and to feel seen in the queer community, this is the movie to go watch. It's so laugh out loud funny. The whole cinema that I was in laughed so loudly, and having gone to movies in my town before, people don't usually do that. They're not like laugh out louders. Everybody laughed out loud. It was just, a lot of the screenings were sold out, and I was so happy about it, because I think these people deserve the money, because they haven't been able to promote it. It has had a terrible release schedule. I think most people only saw it because of some random girl in Ohio who recorded the screen. Don't do that, folks, or do it. Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen it, but I don't know. It's so, so, so good. And there's making out, there's not making out, there's people respecting boundaries, there's blood, there's pineapple juice, there's everything you could possibly want in a movie. And if I could buy it on DVD, I would, and then I'd buy a DVD player to watch it. am such a fan. I am such a fan of this movie. And I mean, we can break it down into shot choices, character development, a very tight script. We can do all the technical things and say that it meets all of these criteria. But my favorite thing in the world is how self-aware it is of film and sort of knowing the references it's making and sort of going above that and being funny over and above and then just stand up references. Just great casting all the way around. My only critique is that they cast this girl, Ruby Cruz, as Hazel, and I'm meant to believe that Ruby Cruz was not getting laid in high school, which I was a gay person in high school. Ruby Cruz got laid in high school, but that was my only plot hole, really. Everything else banger.
I am so excited to see this film. Obviously, it's had a very limited release in the States. It's had no release anywhere else, and no release is on the horizon. Like, it's not even like I can say like, oh, it's coming to the UK, but in like a few months. There's nothing. There's crickets. When I search like Bottom's release date UK, it's just like, I don't know, girl. I don't know what to tell you. Crickets.
It's a little emoji.
Yeah, it's just. There is some like rumblings that it's not even going to get a theatrical release here, that it's going to go straight to Prime, which would be a shame. I would love to see it in a cinema. I would love to see it with a bunch of other people. I think comedies like this are the type of thing that's it's best for at least a first watch to see with a bunch of people. But if it does direct release to Prime, I will do my best to get as many people into my little living room as I possibly can to watch it with me. But it looks so good, and I've heard it absolutely heralded as like an instant like high school comedy classic, along the lines of something like Booksmart and Easy A and Mean Girls and Clueless and But I'm a Cheerleader. So I cannot wait to see it, and I'm also just. We're talking about people going through like Renaissance, people who are having moments. Io Edebiri is absolutely having a moment. She is in fucking everything at the moment. And I am so happy for her for that. The Bear, Abbott Elementary.
The Ninja Turtle movie too. Isn't she voiced in the Ninja Turtle movie? She's funny as fuck. All the social media stuff is hilarious.
Yeah. She's just living her best life with Quinta Brunson and Zendaya and Tom Holland going to see Beyonce. We love to see it. I love
how Tom Holland was just there like a little momager.
He's so adorable.
He
just
really
want to eat him with a spoon. Yeah,
he's all the way down. He is whatever she says. He's like, yeah, baby.
And then also with this film, I needed to ask you, like, how did you feel about Nicholas Galitzine in this after Red, White, and Royal Blue? Because I remember when we were doing the Red, White, and Royal Blue review, you were just like, oh, and he's going to be in a new gay film. And like, we were just like, how's that going to play out?
This boy in this movie was so fucking funny. He must have friends who are as thick as, 2x4s, because he just plays it so well. And he's hilarious. Like, he's loud funny. I wouldn't say he's a scene stealer because it's very fucking hard. Rachel Sennott. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sennott.
It's like Sennott, like
that girl. She is just nobody could steal a scene from her. Good luck, Meryl Streep. Like but her and
she's also just had bangers after bangers, like Shiver Baby, and then what was the other one I was about to say? Fuck. Bodies. She's also in that as well. Bodies. Did really well. Yeah.
I think what I really loved about his performance is that he knew his role and he knew how to play it to perfection, and he can actually act. So and I'm not saying anything bad about the other person in that rom-com, but he's
absolutely nothing.
He's a very good actor. So like, when he decides to be stupid, it's so fucking funny. Like, I think he was really just fantastic to watch.
He's got the range. He's got the range. So, Colt, you would know this, and I know it doesn't matter, and labels only exist in our heads and all these things. Is he heterosexual? I don't know. I don't think there's been any sort of comment on it or any anything like that. I haven't seen any. I've seen a lot of rumblings about his red, white, and royal blue co-star and how he may indeed have a secret husband. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe.
No, I've not heard anything about Nick.
I've read those too. I've watched the TikToks, I've read the theories, and then I realized that this is creepy.
But I mean, I will say that I don't think he's played many heterosexuals on screen. I mean, you can. I haven't seen this film yet, so I don't know if he indeed is heterosexual in this film. But every other film, as far as I'm aware, have been a little fruity.
This role is not short of fruit. You have to sort of know.
That's my favorite way you describe him. It's not without fruit, yeah.
It's not without fruit, but you have to sort of know the jokes that are being made.
Right.
The jokes always work on two levels. So he has like a best mate, and for me, the jokes worked on both those levels.
Right.
But that could just be because of me as a person. And probably screenwriter as a person.
Yeah. It's safe to say.
So yeah, but I was just wondering, it's not add fuel to the fire. But
no, let's not get Connor the situation.
Oh no, that's totally different. Oh, that's just a baby. No, people told me
it's just a baby.
Yeah, it's just a baby, guys.
Okay, well, speaking of the complete opposite of that, we're going to move on to our next category, which is television.
Oh.
And we shall finally be talking about, and just like that.
Sorry, I'll stop laughing. Okay, go ahead.
It is the Sex and the City revival series that first premiered at the end of 2021, and it follows Carrie Bradshaw, Miranda Hobbs, and Charlotte York Goldenblatt 11 years on from the absolute flop that was the second Sex and the City film. Noticeably absent is, of course, Samantha Jones, whose portrayer, Kim Cattrall, is infamously on bad terms with SJP and Michael Patrick King.
Do the quote.
Notably saying, I don't want to be in a situation, even for an hour, where I'm not enjoying myself.
Queen.
Respect. Respect. Like we love that. We love that for her. She does, of course, pop up for a cameo in the finale of season 2, very briefly, on condition that she not be in a room with Sarah Jessica Parker or Michael Patrick King, and got to bring the original costume designer back in to dress her. Yeah. For 1 minute long scene for the fans. So bless her for that, and bless her for sticking to her guns about not coming back full time. We'll see if that sticks. I'd be quite content if she doesn't show up. I think it's fine. I think the show, I wouldn't say works the same way without her, but I think it's finding its footing slowly but surely.
Does the show work? That's my follow-up question to that.
The show is wild, Mary. It is. We've talked about it at length off the pod, but that first season was deeply, deeply flawed. But I couldn't and still cannot look away from the carnage. The characters you've loved, but now loosely recognize, are saying the cringiest dialogue in situations that leave you scratching your head with two-dimensional, tokenistic feeling side characters, all while still fabulously dressed. Give them that. If you have a friend who is a messy, drunk white girl, you know what it's like to watch this show. This show is the messy, drunk white girl of television. And I, for one, very much enjoy it. I think that, all of that being said, I think the second season, which recently concluded, is a notable improvement, I felt, on that first season. I think there are far more glimmers of like the original show. And I think the new characters are getting fleshed out a bit more from being just like the black best friend or the gay best friend. And they appear to be more like real people with their own lives, and they've got their own storylines going on, and they don't just exist in relation to the original 3 characters. So that's good. That's a step in the right direction. I think people sort of talk about hate watching the show a lot. I genuinely love it. Schlock and all, I cannot wait for that new episode every week, and I am filled with glee at every inane and absurd bit of dialogue. It brings me joy, and I hope it runs for years. Genuinely,
I agree. I think it's sort of like I haven't been able to watch it because I live in a 2-person household, 1-cat household. And the other half of the household would not like to see something like that. But I would like to say that from what I've seen most of every season on all my social media, because, okay.
And the numerous video clips I've sent of me like laughing at it while I'm watching it, at the ridiculousness of it all.
It's just so funny. Like, it's so, you know what I think the experiences that people are having? It's the same experience people had with Emily in Paris, where it's like, it's candy. It's junk food, but it's like junk food that you get from a very, very nice supermarket. So it's very well packaged.
Yeah, I mean, the production value cannot be faulted. Like, it's beautifully shot.
People, I think
it's beautifully constructed and all of that. There's a lot of the same people are back that was sort of on, but I think with a lot of years on them. Put it that way. There's maybe a bit of rust happening.
But
it's a delight, and like.
It's okay to like these things. It's okay to like shows that are like Emmy nominees, and some Emmy nominees have actually been nominated. Emily in Paris was nominated, so let's not call it that.
Fucking remind
shows
me.
that maybe won't go down in the Library of Congress. You know, like it's okay.
Yeah, and I think it's just. What's I going to say? I think it's also like okay to watch something to make fun of it.
It's so good. You don't have to.
Not everything has to be watched with reverence. Not everything has to be watched with like trying to like tear it down. Because that's the thing is that when I say people hate watch it, people are not like this shouldn't be on television. Why is this still going? It's not like a malicious. I don't see a lot of that. I'm sure that exists. I don't see a lot of that. I see a lot of gay people going, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. I hate this show so much. I will be watching next week.
I love it.
That is what I see. People going, I cannot believe this is that line of dialogue just left the mouth of Sarah Ramirez.
That is the critique that people have had, the they, them aspect of it. People
Che Diaz. That character is a mess. I genuinely love them. I love them so much. They are a menace. They are a menace to society, to themselves, to all of us as a society. But every time they are on screen, I'm like, oh.
The memes have just been
I cannot wait for whatever bullshit. And I think that in a way, they're aware of it. The showrunners and the writers are very much aware of the discourse. And they will bring it up just to be like, fuck you, we're going to make it weirder. Like, fuck you, we're gonna stick to this. We're gonna like, but in a way, they also do like address it and change things. So like, they basically have this moment in the second season where they had Che Diaz has gotten the opportunity to act in a like sitcom that's kind of like based on their lives or whatever, and then they have a scene with like a test audience, and the test audience is just saying everything that Twitter has ever said about the character of Che Diaz. Yeah. And it's a moment of self-awareness where it's like these people they're aware of
they have
themselves.
Twitter.
Yeah. They just, I think people, especially Michael Patrick King, I don't think he may be very aware of criticism. Does he give a single fuck? Is he going to change a single thing? Absolutely not.
Should he?
No, I mean, a little bit, because they did a little bit with this season where it's like, okay, the side characters have dimension to them. You know, that's not just Charlotte's black bestie. She has her own life. She's a filmmaker. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's got like a lot of her own storyline going on now. She's not just there to sit next to Charlotte for like Charlotte to bounce things off of.
Charlotte and that kid,
Seema, the real estate agent, who I think is one of my favorite side characters, the sort of real estate agent character. I think she's absolutely fabulous. And having her moment this season where she sort of has friction with Carrie that's really interesting. And she's
very easy on the eye.
Oh yeah. stunning.
Very easy on the eye.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say about Shay was that my favorite thing ever was Sarah Ramirez saying, "I'm nothing like my character," and then, I forgot the name. I just want to call her Miranda Hobbs. That's so bad. Real life Miranda Hobbs.
Cynthia Nixon.
Cynthia Nixon. Who's like a fucking, like, in politics, like, I know her name, but I only see her as Miranda Hobbs. But she was like, I'm everything like her. I am.
Which is bad because in this series she plays like a sexually confused alcoholic divorcee. Like it's
like pussy blind. Like
a lot of things you don't want to claim there. Okay, but good for you.
But it's just so funny, and it's like, I don't know. I love that type of show. It definitely is up my street. It's so great that shows like that exist, and that there's not just queer representation, but goofy ass queer representation.
Yes, yeah.
It's like you always say, like, I support gay rights. I also support gay roles.
Yeah,
it's just,
absolutely. Yeah,
that is it.
And that would describe the show. Yeah,
gay roles.
And it's the decisions that are made. So obviously, well, you may be aware, but like the actor who played Stanford sadly passed away after sort of halfway through that first season, so it had to be written out of the show. And they have this moment in the second season where they sort of readdress the fact that he's not around, and they sort of do like we're properly writing him off. He's not coming back. Like this is, and their solution to getting him off of like the show world is that he becomes a monk.
Yes.
Like a Tibetan monk.
Yes.
Stanford Blatch became a monk. It's just... And the way that... Honestly, credit to SJP for being able to say that whole exchange with a completely straight face, and then to also have Anthony then liken the experience to him not having ever bottomed before. And then and using that as inspiration to be like, yes, my husband left me and disappeared and became a monk. I think I'm ready to bottom now. What? And it's just moments like that where you're like, what am I fucking watching? I cannot wait to watch this again. What are they gonna do next?
Well, it was so funny. I cannot tell you how that had me in absolute bitter. Like, it's obviously not an easy thing. They've known, somebody who you've known your whole life is gone, and you worked with them literally every day for like God knows how long. So obviously it's heavy, but they were like, you know what he would have fucking loved? This dumbass shit we're about to do. Like, because it's so confusing and so great.
Yeah.
It's a fever dream, is that show. Like
it is. And I'm fully behind it, and I cannot wait for more of it, if for no other reason than to give me material to be able to message people like you and our other friend Chrissy and stuff about this, where we just really, it's life-giving. It's life-giving, this kind of mess.
It's life-giving. Can you imagine that writer's room where they're just trying to figure out what to do with the character? Like, it's kind of sad.
I fully believe they're just playing Mad Libs. They're just playing Mad Libs in that writer's room. Like, no thoughts, just vibes, And on that note, we're out of time. So thank you so much for listening. If you want to give us a follow on socials, we are at girlsgaysdays_pod on Instagram and TikTok.
And join us again.
And video versions of this podcast are available on YouTube. Almost forgot that.
My sister watches them. We have one viewer. Okay. And join us again next week for another sip of queer culture.
Cheers. I didn't even have a drink this time.
That was a caramel cookie.
Oh.